both at 9 and 2. We're looking, remember, at a record of 12 and 3 to make it into the top 8. So a lot. This is a very live bracket. Start out Donovan with Esper Aggro will be on the play. Play Toolcraft Exemplar. When you look at the blue cards that this adds instead of red for Mardu vehicles, what are we looking at out of the Esper deck?
So Anguished Unmaking is a deck that the card that this one plays, and mostly you're looking at the counter spells or the big adds, Metallic Rebuke, and then you have to move off some of the red removal spells to some different ones, which is why you see that Unmaking. But it's actually very low on blue. Spell Queller is the other big pickup. I do like Spell Queller a good amount right now.
Donovan just a tap land here on the second turn. Double Aether Hub for Devin Beagley. That is a concern for a control deck.
Right. Until you start resolving plus energy Harnessed Lightnings and Glimmer of Genius.
Right. Heart of Kiran for Donovan. Devin will counter it with a Censor. There's an attack for 1. See if Donovan has a third land. He does not. Does Devin have one? He does. Draws Wandering Fumarole. And really, none too soon. He had 1 energy left and a handful of colored spells. Here's Toolcraft Exemplar from Madison. Exemplar makes a clue token. Clue will pump Toolcraft Exemplar. And Devin at the ready with Harnessed Lightning on Toolcraft before the trigger resolves, so no ability to crew Heart of Kiran.
No Heart of Kiran to crew.
Oh, Heart of Kiran was countered, you're right.
Get a response to the trigger so he can go +2 energy on the Harnessed Lightning, which will help his Aether Hub mana projection.
Donovan follows up with a Glory Bound Initiate. Go back over to Beagley. Oh, we'll get the right match on camera. There we go. 2 energy off that Harnessed Lightning, yeah, and that really does matter here. It's his only way to cast 2 spells.
But he's really in the market for a 4th land.
Devin, some timing here. I'm interested in what, yeah, he's going to Magma Spray. Waited until combat. So Spell Queller or Metallic Rebuke could actually get him, it could be a problem because he waited to cast that.
And given that and he's missed a land drop on the previous turn, you might see Donovan get aggressive here with counter spells.
Yeah, look. He's really debating it. He has 1 clue in play. If he had the counterspell and a follow-up 1-drop, it seems like that'd be really a great play. But he does not. Looks like he's going to rebuke anyway. Yeah, counters the Magma Spray.
That rebuke is really just fighting for 3 damage here. He has a backup Glory Bound Initiate in hand.
Devin going to abrade the Glory Bound Initiate then. Still takes 1, goes to 17. Devin draw, looks like another Magma Spray.
He's got a good mix of cheap interaction here, which is what he needs in these land light draws, though eventually he is going to need to start hitting his 4th land drop in upwards.
And down to 16 from taking a couple of Thraben Inspector hits.
That can be a pretty annoying threat for these Grixis decks. Always replaces itself. Feels bad to cast a spot removal on a spell on a 1/2.
Heart of Kiran, this time it will resolve from Donovan. Can't Essence Scatter it, the Abrade was already used. Donovan can't crew it yet.
Until he casts Glory Bound Initiate. He'll need that to resolve, though. Looks like a couple copies of that in his hand, though.
Yeah, 2 Glory Bounds, a Gideon, both hanging out in Donovan's hand.
Yeah, Donovan also notably hurting for that 4th land drop. The ability to cast a 2-mana spell plus Crack Clue or just cast Gideon would be really nice for him.
Yeah, he's not... He's maintained control of the board, but he hasn't taken advantage of this landlight aspect from Devin. You know, it's just 1 damage each turn. You see Glory Bound Initiate was countered there. Chandra Torch of Defiance from Devin Beagley. See what he does with it. This Chandra is not long for the game.
Looks like he has 2 backup Chandras in hand.
Okay, well that makes it easier. You see Chandra shoots down Thraben Inspector. But he'll need an answer for Heart of Kiran.
If you plus the Chandra, then if something crews the heart, that plus the inspector just kills the Chandra.
Right.
So you want to go with that -3, though it doesn't feel great to do that to Thraben Inspector.
You see Spell Queller, Gideon, Avacyn, and Glorybound Initiate. Donovan's going to play the Initiate. Initiate can crew Heart of Kiran, and that will go ahead and move Chandra off the board. Devin picks up a 5th land, plays another Chandra, kills Glorybound Initiate. There is a copy of Hour of Devastation in Devin's hand, and that 3rd Chandra you mentioned.
Given that the Hour would only kill 1 creature there, it wouldn't kill the heart, makes sense to just be aggressive with these Chandras.
And this land miss from Donovan is the one that hurts. His hand was Gideon, Spell Queller, Avacyn. If he drew a land for Gideon, he'd have a really nice play this turn. Gideon, crew Heart of Kiran, kill Chandra, but he drew another Gideon, so he doesn't have the land. He actually just has to pass, which means Devin gets to untap with his Planeswalker. And
Whammy.
exiles Nicol Bolas. We're never going to see this card, Ryan.
No.
It's just no justice.
It's uncastable.
Too soon, but Donovan will take 2. Devin just passes. Looks like a black removal spell moving to the front of Devin's hand. Are we looking at To the Slaughter? Yeah, we are. The one of in his deck. That's actually a card that can catch, well, could catch Heart of Kiran, probably never will.
It's tough to make that one work.
You would need another, your opponent would have to choose to sacrifice the Heart of Kiran.
Yeah, you have to have a spot removal spell for whatever crewed it,
Yeah.
or Delirium when it's crewed off of a Planeswalker and nothing else.
Another Chandra plus here, shows a land. Cannot use lands off Chandra.
Nope. Got to cast them. Otherwise, they just shock your opponent. Can't cast lands.
Devin up to land 6, though. We see End Step Spell Queller from Donovan Madison. Though that's actually not enough damage yet to attack down the Chandra. It's down and draws Scrounger. Multiple copies of Gideon, though, in hand.
Crewing the heart here would do the trick. He was able to successfully execute that.
And we'll see, he can go Inspector plus Scrounger, or he can try for Gideon.
With double Gideon, you kind of want to get aggressive with that. Do have to be mindful of potential Hour of Devastations at this point. He'd at least be able to maintain the heart through that, though.
Scrap Heap Scrounger. Now we're going to see if Devin is going to To the Slaughter in response here. If he doesn't, he'll likely catch Scrap Heap Scrounger with the To the Slaughter. Which isn't exactly what he wants to do. Three Aether Hubs and 2 energy.
Yeah, Hub being the sole black source at this point in time.
Looks like Scrounger will resolve. And just Queller attacking at Chandra, so he's not going for Heart of Kiran here.
Concerned about being hit by Harnessed Lightning, I suppose.
Thraben Inspector for Madison makes a clue token. And Magma Spray will take care of the Scrounger.
As it stands, Hour Devastation kills some creatures. He'd maintain the heart. If you expose the Heart of Kiran to Harness Lightning that turn, you'd be going to your next turn with really nothing going on in the face of Hour of Devastation. It seems to be the logic at work here.
Smasher, we have an instant in the graveyard for Devin. We have a Planeswalker. Don't believe we have the Delirium onto the Slaughter, though.
Yeah. The Spire Bluff Canal there is, of course, exiled.
Right, Chandra will exile another card. Jason Raveler of Secrets. Devin might play that one. Cast a second Planeswalker. See if any of these can survive to the next turn.
Standard Classic competitors, that is time of the round.
Devin really waiting for the right spot for this Hour of Devastation. Tapping low on mana on this turn. Pretty likely you'll see Donovan commit a Gideon here, which make a very good spot for the Hour.
Scry 1 and draw from Beagley. So 8 loyalty worth of Planeswalkers. Only 7 power of creatures on Madison's side.
Magic players,
So likely Devin will get to untap with a Planeswalker.
Round 2 pairings are going up now. Please take a quick look and head to your seats. Again, if you are in the
Yeah, here's Gideon, ally of Zendikar.
round 2 pairings are going up now.
Now, Hour of Devastation, there's some friendly fire going on here, though. Devin's Planeswalkers are also non-bolus Planeswalkers.
Right. Yeah, those would take 5 damage from that. You might see Donovan make some combat based around that knowledge. You don't need to throw all of your damage at that loyalty if what you're concerned about your opponent having is Hour of Devastation. You can just manage the loyalty to a point where the Planeswalkers can't activate an ability where you care about, get some damage in upstairs.
Gideon will crew Heart of Kiran. Looks like 5 damage at Jace and 2 at Chandra. Leaves a 1 loyalty Jace on the table.
And with the way that that played out, the Hour of Devastation is going to be pretty devastating for Donovan's board. Fittingly so.
Yeah. Jace, scry, and draw a Censor. Does he like that, or would he like something else? He's going to take the Censor.
I suppose your opponent's been light on lands.
Yeah, it's actually still a counter spell right
should
now.
be able to counter a Gideon with that one.
I guess you can always cycle it if not.
Right. It only costs 1 mana to do that.
Right. Here is Hour of Devastation. So Jace gets hit by that as well. Just Heart of Kiran and the Clue left for Donovan. And he'll pass. Has 2 the Slaughter and Censor in hand, along with Chandra and 1 other. So Gideon from Donovan, and there you go. Devin rewarded for holding on to that Censor. Fumarole there under the Foreboding Ruins. 4 mana, and now it'll be Chandra from Beagley. If he pluses it, he gets to keep it no matter what, even if Donovan can crew Heart of Kiran, so that is what he will do. And Glimmer of Genius in Beagley's hand. I'm liking this a lot from the control side.
Yeah, well, still 4 mana to go. Gets another chip shot in with Chandra. This being the 3rd Chandra he's cast this game.
Yeah, playing 3 or all 4?
There is 3 copies.
His Planeswalkers look to be 3 Chandras, 2 Nicol Bolas, and 1 Jace. So he has 1 Bolas left in his deck. And it looks like 1 Ob Nixilis reignited.
Yep.
And a Scarab God.
Scarab God is really
that's
interesting.
fun. Yeah. Gideon from Donovan. It's going to crew Heart of Kiran. Here is To the Slaughter. Should check here for Delirium on Devin's side. It's sacrifice a creature or a Planeswalker. Let's see if it's both. Instant, Planeswalker, Sorcery. Uh-oh, is there a 4th one? Got Hour of Devastation, Censor, a Chandra. I don't...
Haven't seen any creatures. No,
No.
Gear Hulks or Scarab God.
No Delirium, just the 3 types. So Donovan will lose the Gideon. Heart of Kiran will put Chandra down to 1. So is that a misstep on... I guess Donovan can't assume he's playing around To the Slaughter. Had he made a... Do you guys would have wanted to 0 the Gideon first and then crew?
Yeah, you'd get a little bit more value that way.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been right now. Not far be me to say, yeah, he should have known his opponent had To the Slaughter.
Right.
That's a really strange card to have. But with that knowledge, yeah, I think it is a misstep.
Yeah, what it comes down to is that the Gideon's going to be activating the 0 ability that turn.
Right.
That's just going to happen. And generally, you do just kind of want to activate your Planeswalker immediately so that nothing can happen at instant speed. But yeah, To the Slaughter, likely not on the radar.
Glimmer of Genius, 2 cards at the bottom and a draw for Devin. He draws land and negate. So he's down to 2 cards in his hand. They are negate and Torrential Gearhulk, though. The Gearhulk, the big winner here, especially with that Glimmer. We are still waiting on a weekend on our first successfully cast Nicol Bolas God Pharaoh. Ryan, I have high hopes for this game.
I don't know, the Gearhulk plus the Chandra might close this out too quickly.
No, he needs Bolas. Only Bolas can close out the game. Here is Torrential Gearhulk.
Kind of hoping that Nicol Bolas is the bottom card of his deck.
This is good, but you know what would really help us win? The God Pharaoh
You
himself.
could start plussing Nicol Bolas, cast some free Thraben Inspectors from your opponent's
Dragon
aggressive
must
deck.
descend upon the plane of Amonkhet and crush this Esper deck. Here's Glimmer of Genius with Torrential Gearhulk. The flashbacked Glimmer of Genius will be put under Spell Queller.
This is kind of a funny interaction. If you ever use Snapcaster Mage and had somebody interact with the spell you were flashing back, it's just exile otherwise. It's the rules
Yeah.
text for the
If I-
mechanic flashback itself.
If I remand your, that's why remand is so good against Snapcaster.
Yeah. So this is like buried in the comp rules as an addendum to the mechanic flashback.
Okay.
Torrential Gearhulk is just casting a spell. It doesn't have any kind of nonsense rules text attached to it. So this Glimmer is live under the Spell Queller.
So Torrential Gearhulk's actually a little different than Snapcaster Mage that way.
Right.
If this was Snapcaster Mage, it wouldn't be under the Queller.
Correct.
So if Queller dies and the Glimmer resolves, is the Glimmer going to go to exile or back to Devon's graveyard?
That one I don't know the answer to. I believe it's Graveyard though.
I think so.
I don't think that the game
Yeah,
tracks
it doesn't
at all
remember.
through that kind of thing.
So Devon could cast this one Glimmer 3 times. Donovan down to 7 off a hit from Torrential Gearhulk. Devon negate, and it looks like Supreme Will in hand.
It looks now Donovan pretty flooded. 2 lands and Avacyn in hand.
Yeah, I mean, the Supreme Will's really good here. One of these times we're going to cast Bolas. I mean, it's going to happen.
I just have not
gonna
been
happen.
impressed by the existence of that card
You
in this
can't
format.
say that. No one's ever cast it yet.
Exactly. That's really what's driving my beliefs.
It's just
Look how
no
good
one's-
Torrential Gearhulk is. You can cast that whenever you want.
You can cast. Bolas deals 7. Donovan's at 7. Don't tell me that it's better than dealing 7 right now.
You get to draw 2 cards.
It wins. Chandra goes down to 1 from Spell Queller. Land Avacyn in Donovan's hand.
I suppose I'm more likely than most, given the opportunity to win the game or draw 2 cards. I'm pick and draw 2 cards pretty often.
Supreme Will on step from Devon Beagley. Donovan's wondering if he wants to flash in this Avacyn now.
Try to sneak it through a counter spell. Then Devon would know there's an Avacyn that needs to be dealt with.
Bolas. Oh, Torrential Gearhulk.
Oh, hey, that one's pretty good.
Yeah, it is good. I mean, it would have been better. If it was Bolas and a Gearhulk, Devon would have slammed the Bolas.
I don't even think that that's true.
Well, I would like it to be true. Here swings Gearhulk. Avacyn. Going to attempt to make a block. Yeah, Devon starts looking at his graveyard. Oh, which counter spell?
Well, he just cast Supreme Will, so that one's right there. Can't censor this one. There is 1 mana still left over.
Can Essence Scatter to your Torrential Gearhulk. Yeah, this Gearhulk card's pretty good too. Game 1's going to go over to Devon Beagley's Grixis control deck, up 1-0. Next game, we're going to need Bolas. Let's look at the sideboards. He better not board it out.
So let's look
I hope he doesn't board it out.
Let's check which cards will be coming into the deck over Nicol Bolas for the sideboard games.
Liliana the Last Hope, Scarab Feast, Doomfall, Negate, Hour of Glory, Bantu's Last Reckoning, By Force, Jace's Defeat, Chandra's Defeat, Liliana's Defeat. We're just taking care of the whole Gatewatch here. And Kalitas, Trader of Get.
See, that's on theme because he's a Nicol
Because you
Bolas
need Bolas.
control deck.
Right, you're gonna
so you
defeat
have
all
to
of them from
defeat
Gatewatch.
the other Gatewatch. I would just squeeze a Nissa's Defeat
And Gideon's
and a
Defeat.
Gideon's Defeat in there for flavor. Big upgrades here, though. Liliana the Last Hope is great against these Toolcraft Exemplar decks. That one really shines in these kinds of matchups.
Yeah, it's Selfless Spirit. We saw that yesterday. It's still great against that card.
Yeah, Hour of Glory is a reasonable option against Avacyn. That's fine. You might reach for Bantu's Last Reckoning. I'm not convinced on the playability of this card, but I can certainly play here.
Yeah, my control, the Grixis control likes its mana. I don't know how much I want to skip my untap. I guess my thought would be for the very low to the ground aggro decks.
Right.
Which Esper aggro is not. Yeah, no, it isn't.
Right. And then By Force is pretty good in this matchup. Good amount of artifacts that you want to destroy. That one's really good.
Yeah, no, there's some thought. We had red-blue on camera last round. Devin's on By Force. Our last player was on Release the Gremlins. They're such similar cards. Is this just a preference thing?
By Force is an instant, yeah. Release the Gremlins is pretty mana intensive. The 2/2s aren't really a huge payoff for you. I guess they're both sorcery speed. It's more mana efficient though.
Yeah, it depends how many. I guess if you need to blow up 3 artifacts, By Force is nicer because
Right.
you can actually cast it.
Sometimes you want to destroy, say, Oketra's Monument and 3 clues. That can come up. Bygone Bishop can really run up that clue score. And with a deck like a control deck, you're not closing the game fast enough to stop them from cracking the clues.
Donovan Madison sideboard. Now he's up against a control deck. Kalitas, Declaration Stone, Negate, Fragmentize, Fumigate, Dusk to Dawn, Aethersphere Harvester, Sorengrim Nemesis, and a copy of Dispossess.
So this is one spot where not playing a bunch of Treacherous Gearhulks can pay off. You can only dispossess for 2 copies of that, I suppose. That one could be coming in this matchup, though. The Negates are the clear, really biggest upgrade here. You can use those to counter a lot of very impactful spells out of the Grixis control deck. And Sorengrim Nemesis just having a Planeswalker, another big threat. That one's pretty good here as well.
Yeah, as far as the ability to go big out of the sideboard, Donovan doesn't have that much big in his sideboard, though. I'm really just looking at Sorin and Negate.
Right.
We'll have a second game, see if Esper Aggro can get that one. Now, our invitational qualifiers happening all around the country. Now, the top 8 players of any of our opens here qualify for the invitational, but you too can qualify for our Season 2 invitational with the StarCityGames.com invitational qualifiers. These have started this month. They happen all the way through December. And a lot to like about them. There's exclusive prizes, a full $1,000 to the entire top 8. There are 2 invitations given out to our Season 2 Invitational. That's December 1st through 3rd in Roanoke. You get points here to help earn buys on the SCG Tour. You get our playmat for this. This season is going to be the Karma Chameleon. It's illustrated by Kristen Plesko. You get the exclusive winners tokens, IQ tokens, and top 8 pins. You can find a location near you at starcitygames.com/IQ.
Big fan of the IQ program, really great local tournaments. I qualified the first invitational I ever played for off of a Super IQ. Playing Tempered Steel in Standard.
I played just a couple IQs. But I was always covering the invitational, so I'd play them for fun, and then I'd eventually play a friend in some of the elimination rounds and be like, hey,
I may
I'm
or
done
may
playing.
not have won an IQ for an invitational I was covering.
That's so rude. That's so rude.
Can't really confirm or deny.
We'll never know.
Whether that
Never know.
happened.
All right, game number 2 here. Donovan Madison going to be on the play. Turn 2, Heart of Kiran. That can sneak by counter magic. We actually saw Heart of Kiran stick on the battlefield for the entire game. Last game.
Didn't do too much.
Yeah. I was actually surprised by that. At first I was concerned that one had resolved, but then it didn't matter.
Yep. Got a couple shots in at some Planeswalkers that were going to die to Hour of Devastation anyway. As Standard gets larger, the best cards, they generally do just get worse on average. You just have more and more good cards.
Toolcraft Exemplar. And we play that, becomes a 3-power creature, cruise the Heart of Kiran, and that will attack for 4.
And no action from Devin here is pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, Grixis control, I would expect, a Harnessed Lightning, maybe an Anticipate, something. Glorybound Initiate, that'll get hit by a Censor. Okay, so he does have some interaction. And that's one of the scary parts. Esper Aggro on the play can really sneak under a blue-red interaction. A turn 2 kill spell is about what all his draws do.
Right.
Still taking 4 damage.
Looks like a very land-heavy draw. Looks like at least 4 more lands in the holdings for Devin.
Yeah, one of the difficulties when I watch these blue-red decks, it's really showcasing on two of the weaknesses of the deck. The first one is that its interaction is kind of weak on the early turns. It's all the same stuff.
Yep.
And if it's not good enough, then it's just not good enough. The second one is that the deck needs a specific mix of lands and spells.
Yep.
It doesn't have these, like, a lot of times in a control deck, if you have a Haymaker card, that'll carry you through. If you look back at, like, old blue-white control decks, which maybe, you know, if they have like a 4-mana Jace, or some are 3 or 4-mana Jace in the format, like when you have the wrong mix of lands and spells, it's fine. You play a Jace, and Jace is great, so he'll take care of that for you. There's nothing like that here.
It's a deck that really feels being on the draw as well. As you saw, Censor would have been a lot better on the Heart than on the Glory-bound Initiate.
Devin, though, I do like cycle lands in the deck. Devin will cycle on end step. That helps to address that if you have the time.
Right.
Devin down to 12. No plays from Donovan that turn.
Really needs some kind of kill spell here.
Continues to use the Scars duels here. Magma Spray, negate. That's some interaction in his hand.
This is nice because the Exemplar can't crew the Heart until it triggers. So if Donovan doesn't play a creature that can crew the Heart pre-combat, Devin can catch him with the spray.
Yeah. Goes to combat, and then here is the Magma Spray.
Donovan really light on resources here.
Yeah, well, he didn't play anything turn 4, and I don't know if he has anything turn 5 either. Just passes. He had a great start, but his deck is letting Devin off the hook here.
Mm-hmm. 2 cards in hand. Looks like at least one of them is a land as well.
Yeah, one's Anguished Unmaking.
That card is the kind of thing you want to top deck when there's a Torrential Gearhulk in your way to make a lethal attack, and that's it in this matchup.
Here's Toolcraft Exemplar. Donovan's going to try to crew that vehicle again, and it looks like he will.
I suppose this deck has a lot of Planeswalkers, and sometimes you see Thing in the Ice out of the sideboard as well.
It is something I'm noticing when you start playing these interactive cards, like Anguish Unmaking. If you have too many, that's where Heart of Kiran starts to look a little weak. If you have too many cards that just can be ignored, you know, and we're seeing that, right? The Heart of Kiran can be ignored, Anguish Unmaking can be ignored, then yeah, you're not presenting a lot of a threat. Devin did go to 8 there. We used Supreme Will to find a Glimmer of Genius.
So the Esper deck really doesn't have any reach. There is that sideboard Sorin Grim Nemesis. That one technically counts. Tough to resolve, though.
Land and pass. So we're back over to Donovan. He's picked up a Gideon. Devin does have a negate at the ready for that one. Here's Glimmer from Devin. I believe Donovan going to combat here. Now we're glimmering in response.
Be a nice spot to find any 2-mana removal spell or Magma Spray.
Looks like you have Chandra and Hour of Devastation.
Not really in the market for Chandra right now.
Or for Hour, he's going to bottom both, find Sweltering Suns and Cut to Ribbons. I'm surprised to see Cut to Ribbons in the deck. Grixis never strikes me as a deck that interested in the card Ribbons.
Cut is a pretty good removal spell, though.
Yeah, Cut's good. Abrade is usually better than Cut.
Generally true.
Devin down to 4. He's taken 4 hits off that Heart, though. And you look, Donovan's respecting negate, did not cast Gideon into it, and Devin does have it.
Yeah, when you're so light on resources, you know, Donovan has so few cards in hand, you got to try to find a spot where you can actually resolve your spells. He's also playing some number of counter spells of his own. He can find a window where he has Gideon plus negate to fight a little war.
Donovan does have the God Pharaoh. Devin has God Pharaoh in his hand. This might be the game. Here's cut on Toolcraft Exemplar. We're going to see it this game, Ryan. It's looking like it.
Yeah, plus it. Cast Toolcraft Exemplar.
Devin's likely going to wait till he has 9 mana,
Yes.
but Nicol Bolas may make his first appearance here. We're waiting. We're waiting. Jace, Unraveler of Secrets, too.
In this game, Nicol Bolas is pretty interchangeable with every other finishing card in Devin's deck.
Maybe even a little worse because it costs so much,
Right.
actually. But it'll be really sweet when it happens. That's how I judge most of my cards.
I don't know. Torrential Gearhulk is so sweet already.
How-
It's so sweet and it's better than everything.
It's all about the feel, you know? When I'm playing the game, how do I feel when I cast this card?
Invincible when you cast Torrential Gearhulk. Yeah, I agree.
Casting Bolas, I look at all, I read each sentence, I'm like, that's going to be awesome. That's also going to be awesome. Ah, this card's great.
I see that our assessments of Nicol Bolas' relative power of its abilities differ.
I didn't say powerful, I said awesome.
They're not even awesome.
Here's
it's
Gideon.
like Mind
Negate.
Rot. Mind Rot.
Exiling Mind Rot.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, get those out of there forever. Here's Devin, land 8. No, it's not. Is it time for the God Pharaoh? Or is
Well-
it just time for the puny Jace?
Heart of Quran is lethal right now, so you got to do something that's safe. You know what's pretty safe? In my
Torrential
experience,
Gearhulk.
leaving up 6 mana for Torrential Gearhulk is a pretty safe
You know,
play.
you know what's safe? Getting all the cards in his hand, and then you cross your fingers and say, you better top deck. Give him one turn, and then you got
Actually,
him.
I would love to see Nicol Bolas exile your hand, top deck Scrap Heap
Would you
Scrounger.
kill him? Hey, you can't win them all.
Sometimes they just have it.
This card's so cool.
Nothing you
look
coulda
at, Look at
done.
all those lines of text on it.
It does have a lot of text.
The art is only like a third of the card because there's just too much awesomeness that you had to make room for.
Uh-oh.
There we go. And his first appearance, it is Nicol Bolas, God Pharaoh. The Dragon Planeswalker comes to the plane of Amonkhet to reap destruction on the Esper aggro deck.
Making its debut on the ACG Tour.
And we hope he doesn't lose for having cast it. 7 loyalty. So, +2, he'll exile the top card of Donovan's deck and cast it. He'll exile until he finds a spell. +1, he'll just get all the cards in Donovan's hand. -4, that's something he's not going to do for a while. And -12 doesn't exist.
Good spot for the +1.
All right, he's going to +1 and exile away Donovan's hand.
Well, get him to cast Anguish on Making.
Oh, that's so rude.
Good job, Nicol
That's
Bolas.
so rude.
Thanks for playing.
Donovan takes 3. It was a nice lava spike. That's all. He'll be back.
Dealer-
There's another copy in the deck.
Can I get a Scrap Heap Scrounger? Oh, no.
Shambling Vent is the play for Donovan.
No justice.
It's okay. We can top deck the other Bolas. It'll be fine. There's no way he has another Anguished Unmaking. Looks like Jace. That was a little underwhelming. I'm sure the next Bolas will be great.
You describe the 7 of your lands, make your opponent cast a spell in your hand to deal with your 7-mana play as underwhelming.
Devin pluses off the Jace. That draws Harnessed Lightning, an answer for the Heart of Kiran.
Hey, this Jace card seems pretty good.
It would lose in a fight to Bolas. If Donovan had Bolas, he'd just kill the Jace with it outright. 7 it, go.
True.
Shambling Vent activated. It's going to attack. Is that good enough to get the Harnessed Lightning from Devin? He's going to say no. It looks like he's taking 2.
Well, this Esper deck isn't going to cast Shock. You know, whatever.
Cycles Sweltering Suns. That one is sorcery. He can't actually use it to kill Shambling Vent. Draws and draws again. Hour of Devastation, a pickup. Not great here. He'll scry to find something better. And scries to the bottom, then draws, finds Magma Spray. Close.
Not quite there.
It's like half the way to killing a Shambling Vent. Maybe even 2/3 of the way.
By your estimation, is a 2/3 smaller than a 5/6?
Both numbers are, it's about 3 on each side small. This Shambling event, it's going to be lethal. That should get the Harness Lightning.
Yeah, got to play that one.
Well, Donovan's going to negate. He drew a negate. Is that going to be good? Glimmer of Genius from Devin. Leaves up 2 mana. Okay.
Needs a negate of his own.
Or another Harness Lightning.
Sure.
No, he only plays 1. He had to make room for the bolus. I understand.
Got more of Braids, doesn't he?
Land. No, both those at the bottom. 2 more tries. Chandra. Land. That's not going to do it. Does he have anything in his hand?
Not looking like it. Yeah, Magma Spray is not going to do it. Sorcery Speed Action is not going to do it.
And this is a game that's going to hurt for Devin Beagley. He was very far ahead and just got chip shotted out.
Mm-hmm.
Harness Lightning's countered by negate. Is there anything else?
Not sure what's happening here. Seems like we should be playing game 3 by now.
He said, "Who are you Who was it attacking?" You. Okay. Game 3.
So how about that game-losing Nicol Bolas?
It wasn't game losing. He just had it. He had the Anguished Unmaking. How lucky.
So my argument is that if that was in the sideboard or left off of the deck registration sheet entirely, that game would have gone better for Devin.
There's not another card. I don't know what other card would have been good there. Look, robots are cool, but not as cool as dragons.
Robots are the coolest thing ever.
That's not true. Dragons definitely better than robots.
We got a lot of a big part of nerd culture is people that prepare for a zombie apocalypse, but they will be not at all ready when robots bring the end to mankind.
No, you just have a dragon, and the dragon breathes fire on the robots and saves you. Because dragons are great.
You think there's no such thing as a fireproof robot?
Dragon's fire is very hot. Not to mention, like, it could be a black dragon, and he could just spit acid on them, or a blue dragon could breathe electricity at them, which, depending on the kind of robot they are, could be a bad thing.
So,
well, blue dragons breathe ice, right?
Are you aware that robots are real and exist, whereas dragons are what they call
not the kind of robots you're talking about.
Yet. Yet. I do suppose, though, in theory, one could survive zombies. Nobody would survive robots.
No, well, you might survive robots at the beginning, but then they would adapt. That's why robots are scary.
Yes.
But dragons are just awesome. They just would win the first time. There wouldn't be a second fight.
Against people or against robots?
Both. All right. They're going to go quickly to game 3 here. 12 minutes in the round remaining for Donovan Madison and Devin Beagley. That one, another game that was looking like it was going to go to the control deck, but then did not. So time will matter here as we start our third and final game.
Players being pretty deliberate about their opening hands. You know, this is for the whole match here. They got to get the game underway, though. They're getting really light on time.
Keep on Devin's side. Looks like they're considering it. And is Donovan going to follow suit? Both players here at 9-2. We are in round number 12 of the Cincinnati Open. Looks like Donovan taking a mulligan to 6. Now, we had just around 100 players here in day 2. We're thinking the record of 12-3 should be good enough to top 8 the event. A win would put both these players in a good spot to make top 8.
Yep, already seeing a good degree of separation in the field between the X2 players and the X3s.
Yeah, Donovan Madison is the only Esper aggro player here in day 2. For Devin Beagley and Grixis Control, 9 players playing Grixis in Control into day 2, and another 7 on Blue-Red Control. We have our metagame breakdown posted over on the coverage page. Donovan says 6, not, yeah, that's not the sign of excitement. He'll keep, though. Scry to the bottom. And we'll go game number 3. Check on lands to start. That's going to be a big one. And looks like Donovan kept a 1-lander, but did draw land on the first turn as he starts on Thraben Inspector.
Good amount of high impact spells
Yeah.
in the hand as well.
Well, that was a great draw. He kept a 1-lander when the 1-lander was Port Town. Drawing a basic anything on the first turn was great. And you see now hits another one. Looks like Donovan's draw will be completely fine.
Yeah, has his choice of Glorybound Initiate or Heart of Quran. I would be inclined to go with the Initiate here. You play into Sweltering Suns, but there's a good chance that your Initiate just gets Essence Scattered on the following turn. Kind of maximize your damage potential.
Yeah, swings with Inspector. Yeah, which one does he want to have resolve? We can pick out of the two here.
Yeah, and there's no red mana yet for
Yeah.
Devin. Just a couple blue-black lands.
Yeah, I don't want to crack the clue. I definitely want to commit another threat here, especially Devin is down on mana. He's going to go with Glorybound Initiate. See, Devin might cycle a Censor here. And Devin's hand was not great either. He had 2 lands, no more, and no red. Yeah, he'll have to cycle away the Censor.
And he does have Sweltering Suns in hand, but at least 2 turns off casting that.
Yeah, a basic Swamp is not going to help either. We go back to Donovan. Donovan's 1-lander may be good enough to get by Devin's 2.
And he can have 2 plays this turn as well.
Yeah, with not even 1 red on the battlefield yet, you just want to jam everything.
At this point, playing the Heart seems pretty good.
Swing for 4, Beagley down to 15.
Players in the 1 p.m. Legacy or pairings for round.
I guess you could go double 1-drop, or you could go. There's a lot of options. Let's see what Donovan wants to do.
Right. Inspector Leave Up Clue seems fine. Commit Heart seems good.
Yeah, well, there's not. I mean, I guess Bantu's Last Reckoning is the sweeper you're worried about right now. Which, to be fair, would be very good.
I don't even know if it'd be very good if Donovan just peels a land after that and casts Gideon. He's firmly in the driver's seat.
It would be, yeah, I don't like that card. I was hoping for it, but yeah.
Once again, we have 1 spot remaining in the next booster draft.
Single white. He's going to go the aggressive line. Here's Toolcraft Exemplar. Is he going to play Heart of Kiran or crack the clue? Leaves up mana. Looks like Essence Scatter actually on the Exemplar. Then here's going to be the vehicle. Donovan passes a ton of damage on his side of the board. And for Beagley, draws no land, no red. Cycles Censor. Going to try to find something. Here's a tap land. We're going to back him up. There's got to use blue mana to cycle the Censor. Can't use the Swamp, but that's fine. He showed intent. Judge corrects that one.
Yeah, there's
given a warning.
No
It's
double
fine.
blue spell here anyway.
Yeah, leaves up negate, says go. Has single red. There is an Hour of Devastation in Devin's hand. You'd need a basic mountain to
Ether
cast
Hub
it.
would do it as well.
Yeah, how many does he have?
4 hubs, 3 mountains. Yeah, because he only
That's
has
not bad,
Because
yeah.
he only has 1 basic, he can't get a Smoldering Marsh. That is his only Smoldering
Yeah,
Marsh.
he needs it now, though. Donovan's draw for the turn, Scrap Heap Scrounger. That's going to be able to crew the Heart of Kiran. So we are looking at 8 damage, 9 if Donovan exerts.
Well, 8 is already over half the life total.
Yeah.
Exerting seems pretty loose.
So Devin knocked down to 7. Donovan 2 cards left, Gideon and Thraben Inspector.
Big draw, looking for hub or mountain.
Yeah, 7 hits here. Can Devin do one? Here comes the card. It's red. It looks like Chandra, though.
That's really the opposite of a mountain.
Misses on the 7-outer. And Devin may just be dead. I don't know. He'd have to have a lot of removal.
Yeah. Has Glimmer of Genius, Negate. Those aren't going to play here.
A pass. Has a braid and negate. Another Scrounger drawn for Madison. That's even good. That's 3 more damage this turn.
Yep. Can play that and immediately crew the heart with that one.
Well, what this means is even he plays Scrap Heap Scrounger. Devin's dead through an Abrade. He abrades the Heart of Kiran. He takes 3 from a Scrounger, 3 from an Initiate, and 1 from the Inspector. It's still lethal.
Yep. And because it's Negate, not Essence Scatter, Devin doesn't have an out to this.
No, Donovan uses the Summoning 6 Scrounger. Looks like he's going to crew Heart of Kiran with it. Crew that. Swing the team. Is that going to be the match?
Sure is looking like it.
A Braid not enough.
Devin with no Planeswalker to try to trick Donovan in this game.
Heart of Kiran's hit by the instant. Just double checking. Yeah, they can't negate anything. That's gonna do it. 7 damage in here. Game and match. It is Donovan Madison with Esper aggro. And what a sweat for him. Barely gets game 2. Game 3 mulligans to 6. Keeps a 1-lander. Has to scry to the bottom. Things are risky, but Donovan pulls it out, and he moves to 10 and 2.
I do like to look at the Esper aggro deck. Mardu Vehicle's still pretty powerful. You have a lot of the same elements of that. Spell Queller seems really powerful right now.
Yeah, I did like a lot what was happening there. I mean, it's really, the Esper aggro deck has a lot in common with Mardu Vehicles, but yeah, you get these counter spells. Didn't seem to matter that much that game.
No, it didn't really come up a lot. And for the Grixis control deck, you know, I can empathize with wanting to do sweet things. I think that blue-red is just where you want to be, though.